Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Lakers got a win in Dallas, 111 to 108. We were down by as much as 27 points in this game. And mind you, this no team has come back by more than 27 points at all this season in the NBA. This is the biggest comeback of any sort. So, how did this happen? Well, it happened because the Lakers shot 17% from behind the arc and basically shot 21% in total in the first quarter. They could not hit a shot in the first quarter to save their lives. And the Dallas Mavericks were hitting threes left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. Anybody who was hoisting up a three for Dallas in that first half was pretty much making it. And what it ended up being was a situation where the Lakers just dug themselves a massive hole in that first quarter. Now, as the second quarter progressed, we started to put in some different players, started to find some things from different guys. Anthony Davis maintained some pretty good efficiency, being the only guy who was efficient in the first half, it seemed. And we were able to just kind of truck along. You know, Russell, my goodness, the names that I'm used to saying. LeBron James was obviously, dealing with the foot, so we knew that was going to have some impact on his play. He's just fresh back, basically, not having played a whole lot of basketball since breaking the record, the scoring record against the Thunder. So tonight, it was more so about bully ball in that first half for him. The efficiency wasn't there. Started off with two for 8 in the first half, and was just really doing everything he could to just kind of bully, push, and attack the inside, because we couldn't get anything going from behind the arc, but we kept on shooting. Ending up with, I think I said it was 6 of 34 or something like that from behind the arc. Just absolutely horrible. And a lot of that had to do with us riding on Malik Beasley's hot hand from the last game and it not being so hot in this one. My guy Malik Beasley was 3 of 14 in total, 2 of 11 from behind the arc. Very, very, very anemic stuff, and our coach did not get away from him at all. The problem that we were finding is that when we did get away from him, the other guys that we would call on gave us nothing. Rui Hachimura was cold tonight. It was one of those situations where we couldn't particularly get it going with Troy Brown. Dennis Schroeder was over from behind the arc. So we were just having some efficiencies issues. Braun couldn't get it going at all from behind the arc. He was over as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he hit a 3 tonight. So, yeah, it was just a tough first half. Watching our guys just continue to try to force passes into the paint, and ultimately watching the Dallas Mavericks snatch the ball and take it the other way and lay it up and stuff like that, which is continuing to happen. And, it was one of those situations where we just couldn't find nothing in that first half. Down 27, and then we started to slowly get it together. We called number 2, Jared Vanderbilt, and he started doing things. And that's the best way I know how to describe it. He just started doing stuff. It started with the rebounding. You look up and he's getting a rebound, offensive rebound. He ended up with 8 offensive boards in this game, which is ridiculous for those who don't pay attention to those kind of stats. That's not something you're going to see very often. He ended up with 17 rebounds, 14 points, 4 steals with a plus minus of I don't remember what it was, but it was way up there. One of the best plus minuses in the entire game. And really just made for a very fantastic overall basketball game in terms of the comeback. It was really him spearheading that comeback by just getting a second chance points, continuing to attack in the paint like Braun was, and just continuing to assist Anthony Davis, who also was spectacular defensively and offensively for the most part. As I said, he was really efficient in the first half, the only guy efficient. And in the second half, he really took over. And then down the stretch of the basketball game, you saw a situation where I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to put Luka Doncic on Anthony Davis. But Anthony Davis was able to seal the game by shooting a nice little, beautiful turnaround jumper over Luka Doncic in a single situation where I can't imagine why they thought that was a good idea. I don't know what Jason Kidd was doing out there, but I certainly appreciate it. So that's what we saw out there. Anthony Davis dropping 30 and 15 with just fantastic overall play on both sides. And as I said, he's been a defender that rivals some of the best I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen a better defender than him. But I will tell you this. I don't think I've seen better defense played, period, than what Vanderbilt gave us in that third quarter. I was sitting there watching him play after play after play. Steal here, jumping in the passing lane, steal there, rebound the ball, dunking there. And it was but the funny thing about it was you're also seeing him make mistakes too. They run a play for him and he bumble it. As I told you, he doesn't have good hands. So it's one of those situations where they try to run a specific play for him or try to get him the ball and it just fumbles out of his hands, or he'll over hustle and the ball will fall out of bounds and stuff like that when we have the possession sealed. So his effort was just all over the place, and you can clearly see where he's a highly effective basketball player. And it's the exact type of piece that you want for the situation we're in when we may find ourselves down 27 and need to come back in the game, and can't anybody in the game hit a shot but Anthony Davis. And here you got this guy Vanderbilt just giving you second chance points, find himself flying and getting into the transition and getting you easy buckets. I was just overly just over the moon in regards to watching what I was seeing down there from him in the third quarter. Some of the best defense ever. And so, with that being said, him and Anthony Davis, I think what we're starting to understand about our Los Angeles Lakers is that you really do have probably the best defensive front court in the game. I don't know who's better than that. I don't know what tandem's better than that. Obviously, you want to talk about Cleveland, and those two stilts that they have down there, Mobley and Allen. So they're definitely involved. I like what, other teams have as well. But when I look at Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis, I don't know that you're going to find two better. Not defensively, not after what I've seen tonight. When you look at the Lakers and the points in the paint that we had, we basically doubled their points in the paint. And that's basically because they doubled our three-point attempts. Well, no, that's not really actually how that went. But they did attempt 48 three-point shots. We ultimately got 63 points in the paint. So you can just see where we were just attacking them, where they were not attacking us. And, we just eventually got away from the three-point shot. I mean, when you shoot as bad as we did in that first half, and you look up and you realize that they don't have any way to guard you in the paint, and everything you're trying to do in the paint is working, you just continue to do that. And that's exactly what we did. We figured it out. Eventually, it was just about attacking them in the paint. We only used the three-point shot as a jab basically in the second half. And everything else we were doing was inside 15 feet. Anthony Davis, dunk. LeBron James, bully, layup. Vanderbilt, dunk. And we just eventually were able to chip away at them where they started turning the ball over, And you got to give Vanderbilt and, our defense as a whole just the credit for why that was happening. Number one defense in the league right now, Los Angeles. I don't know if that held up with this particular game, given the fact that we went down by 27 points, but clearly we won the game. This is a very dangerous basketball club that we have here in Los Angeles. As I'm telling you right now, I would not bet on Malik Beasley shooting 2 of 11 from behind the arc very often. I wouldn't. Not to say that I wasn't absolutely livid the majority of the game, watching Darvin Ham leave him out there for 34 minutes. I hated it, but I understood it. And I'm going to explain it to you guys. When I look at what Malik Beasley was doing out there, I was angry because he was shooting us out of the game. And in most situations, I'm saying, Coach, you've got to play someone else. But I know why Coach didn't play someone else is because he's the same coach that told him to shoot the ball. Even when Malik was telling him, I'm sorry, Coach, I don't want you. I shouldn't have took that shot. Coach is telling him to ignore his conscience and shoot the ball. So when he shoots the ball with 3 minutes to go, having been down, having shot 2 of 11, he shoots a 3-point shot with 17 seconds to go in the shot clock with 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go. It's Coach's fault because Coach left him out there to do it. And ultimately, Coach told him to ignore his conscience. So I get it. You want that shooter to be able to run through a wall for you, and that's one of Darvin's greatest gifts, is to make people believe in themselves by believing in them when he shouldn't. But unfortunately, when doing that, you're also leaving somebody else out to dry in that same flurry. And I'll tell you, Lonnie Walker didn't get too many minutes in this game tonight, and I don't think we're utilizing him properly. Given what we saw tonight from Malik Beasley, this was the night to sit Malik and give Lonnie those minutes. Just because Lonnie's been pushed back down your depth chart does not mean that the overall market sees him as a player who should be pushed down most depth charts. He's not. He's a player that should probably be starting for a good third or fourth of the teams in this league that don't have shooting guards. So we're not doing this right, and we're going to lose value with that player. Should have traded him. I know we didn't. We want to keep him for depth, but we're not using him when we need him. And this was one of those nights when you probably could have used him. Period. But the reason why it's okay, other than the fact that we should have played Lonnie Walker, the only other reason why I think it's okay is because everybody else that he was trying to go to on the bench wasn't giving you the intangibles. When you look up, you see that he had 3 steals, Beasley did. He had 4 assists, and he had 3 boards. And if you look at those intangible stats, you weren't finding him anywhere else on your bench tonight, other than Austin Reeves. So there was one of those situations where you can also play Austin at the 3. So it was one of those situations where I just feel like our coach leaned on Malik Beasley because of the fullness of all that I just explained, coupled with the fact that he couldn't get those intangibles out of anybody else, it seemed, on that bench. But again, play Lonnie Walker, maybe he gives those to you. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's Darvin doing Darvin stuff. But we got away with it tonight, even though it was all ill-advised the way he played Malik Beasley. We were able to overcome it because Anthony Davis, Jared Vanderbilt are just frankly 2 of the best defensive players put together that I've ever seen. And we saw how they were able to basically erase everything that Dallas was trying to do down the stretch of the basketball game. It was nothing. You know, you talk about Kyrie Irving is the best fourth quarter player in the league. We shut him down. I don't know what he did down the stretch of that basketball game, but I can tell you through the eyesight, he wasn't making too much. There wasn't too many shots connected, and it was our defense just doing a fantastic job as a whole, just putting him in positions to not make shots. You know, give credit to LeBron James, who was playing through an injury tonight. He said he heard a pop in his foot, scared all of us to death. I'd like to think that he did all of that just to get an extra breather because he got back up and ran. You know what I mean? He got back up and continued to play. So I'm hoping that the MRI, if there is one, is negative and that there's nothing there. But he did say he heard a pop. So I'm somewhat concerned, even though I know he played through that injury. I've also seen situations where guys have had injuries and they play the rest of the game and then they find out they're really, really hurt. So that's why I'm still kind of uncomfortable. Man said he heard a pop. He heard a pop. But nevertheless, he did play through it. He contributed a great deal to our play by just continuing to play that bully ball. And as we predicted, their interior defense was trash, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Dallas has got a big problem. And the big problem is, cut and dry, they don't play JaVale McGee. And I don't know why. That is exactly what the problem is. JaVale McGee will take care of a lot of those problems. But, you know, Jason Kidd is doing some unconventional stuff over there. He didn't play Hardy any minutes tonight. I don't know why. Because I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I know what he's been doing for the last month. So, the stuff that they're doing over there in Dallas is a head-scratcher to me. I think they kind of played into our hands a little bit based on some of the rotations that they used down the stretch of the game. And I'm happy they did it because we won. You know, when you play Christian Wood and Tim Hardaway off your bench, those are 2 of your best players. They should definitely be starting. I look at Reggie Bullock, he did nothing for you. I look at Dwight Powell, he never does anything for you. So it's just how they use their team that I think is meant to feature Luka Doncic. And now they got to incorporate Kyrie into it. And it's just a weird jambalaya of pieces that don't necessarily fit. And they're not getting the most out of the roster. And we were able to take advantage of that because they were pretty easy to defend in that regard, I think. That's what it really came down to. We knew the ball was going in 1 or 2 places. And it became a situation where we were able to kind of take advantage of that because the rest of their team doesn't really contribute as much. You know, you saw Tim Hardaway come off the bench and do some good things. Green shot well in the first half. I don't know why he stopped shooting. He was making just about everything he shot. But, you know, it's just one of those situations where we were able to mow them down. You know, at the end of the day, they did not play JaVale McGee. And because of it, they didn't have enough length out there. And we did. And that was it. So, 27-point lead be dang. At the end of the day, as I told you guys in the halftime video, we were not going to keep shooting like that. And if they weren't going to continue to score, Dallas wasn't, then they were going to have to see us. It's exactly what I said at the halftime. I didn't think that game was over. Why? Because we can't afford to lose games. See, the reality is, even if we're down by 27, if there's that much time left in the clock, then you're going to be dealing with a desperate team that wants to do everything it can to keep from losing. So that means you're going to deal with us pressing forward on you. We weren't going to roll over, and I knew that. Plus, it was scared by the fact that we were literally shooting the ball in a way that just made it so that we could never hit anything. You know, it was just nothing was falling, so that wasn't sustainable. Why wasn't that sustainable? Because they were soft in the middle. So the problem was we were shooting threes when we didn't necessarily have to. That's what it really came down to. When you look at the Dallas Mavericks, you got Christian Wood, as I said, no JaVale, Luka Doncic playing, you know, powerful. All the Lakers had to do was look in the mirror and realize we're shooting a three when we don't have to. This team can't guard us when we go into the paint. So let's dump it down into the paint as much as we can. Dig into that middle that's so dang soft and walk out of here with the victory. And that's exactly what the Lakers did. And you couple that with Jared Vanderbilt and his ability to just completely take over the basketball game throughout the mountain of the comeback. And that's essentially what I have to say. Jared Vanderbilt climbed the mountain for us. The Lakers had a 27-point deficit. He basically took the team, climbed the entire mountain for them. When we finally subbed him out of the game, we were only down by basically 6 points or 3 points. That's really how it went. He took the team and put them on his back by just simply playing defense in impossible ways, forcing transition buckets over and over and over again, rebounding the ball, erasing any chance of them basically getting any second chance points, and continuously giving us second chance points in the process. I mean, it was just some of the best defense I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not exaggerating. That third quarter was like, it was the type of defense you want to teach all forwards. You want to teach them to do all the things that he did down there. Because he didn't have too many plays called for him. And when he did, he messed them up. That's the thing. Every play he had called for him, he screwed up. But everything he did, freelancing, was nothing short of genius. The way that he played free safety out there, genius. Some of the best defensive basketball I've ever seen. And when you put him next to Anthony Davis, who's also, touched by God defensively, you saw what you saw tonight. You saw exactly what you saw tonight. Dallas had no success. All the stuff that they usually went to didn't work unless it was a three-point shot. And the three-point shots they needed to make, they just didn't hit. Kyrie Irving took some bad three-point shots. I'm not going to lie. He took some shots he'd love to take back. Helped us a lot with some of them shots, Kai. Thank you very much. Some of the threes, I'm like, yo, this is what I'm seeing. It's just a lack of three-point discipline on both sides of both teams. And the Lakers figured it out. That's what it really came down to. And the Dallas Mavericks did not. Attempted 48 threes, hitting 20 of them. They attempted too much. And when you have a team beating inside, in your paint and getting 63 points in your paint, and you're continuing to launch threes, not having any success in the paint because of the Vando AD effect. I told you guys before the game even started, we're a better team than this team. A lot better, unfortunately, for them because of the size that we can put down there and how talented that size actually is. We didn't even use Bamba, which I thought would have made our game that much easier if we would have. I don't know what coach is doing in that situation, not using the 7-footer there, but it is what it is, man. We got the victory. I thought the game was much more difficult than it had to be. I think all in all, you just want your coach to kind of use a little more feel for when a guy shouldn't be used as much. And I thought giving Malik Beasley 34 minutes on a night where he couldn't hit a bucket was just poor decision, and it put us in the position we were in, and we were able to overcome it despite the decision. I think that's what it was. And even when we were trying to come back, coach still left him out to the brick shots. It was just another one of them Darvin Ham type decisions. You just thank God you didn't lose the game, but if you would have, it would have been the story. It's like, why the hell did you? Anyway, so that's my exact opinion about the situation. I almost walk away just as frustrated with how that ended up happening as I am pleased with how it ultimately turned out. It's like the path to getting there. Vando had to do so much to get us back in that game because of the stupid decision to just continue to shoot threes, man. And it wasn't just Beasley. It was Bron. It was everybody. Like everybody in the first half. Austin, they all jacked up shots they shouldn't. Schroeder, jacking up threes. And I'm just thinking, when did we turn into this? Just because we picked up 2 shooters, we want to be a 3-point shooting team? Now we think we're Dallas. We think we're Golden State. Like, this is stupid. And that's what got us this 27-point deficit. Stupidity. Be cut and dry. Not getting out to shooters, just the same. When you're not able to hit shots, the most important thing your butt need to do is make sure the other team's not hitting shots. That's your job. And we didn't do that either in the first half. It took Vanderbilt's heroics to even put us in a position to be close enough to where we could fight back. And I'm just looking around and I'm saying, if he wasn't on this team, we would have lost by 40 tonight. It ain't deeper than that. If Vanderbilt did not play, we lost by about 40. And so that's really all there is to say. I'm pleased we came back. We pushed the limit on this team. Anthony Davis with 30 and 15. Vanderbilt with 17 boards, 14 points, I think, or maybe a little more than that. I don't remember how many points he had. But the 4 steals. Anthony Davis with 3 blocks, I believe it was. Fantastic defense from those 2 players, man. And then when you look at, you got to continue to give credit. Justin Holiday, I told you guys he was going to have a big game. He didn't. But he had 3 blocks and a big 3-point shot. You could just see where he was able to have a significant impact on their team and almost got them back in the game himself with the particular plays that he made. As I said, Christian Wood was going to have a big game. He did. He played well for his team, even though they used him off the bench in a weird kind of way that doesn't feature his talent the way he should be featured. But whatever, that's just a kid again. But him and Tim Hardaway Jr., they hit some big shots, man. Tim Hardaway was pretty good tonight, as I figured he would be. And look at Don. What can I say? He's one of the best players in the world. I thought we did a great job on him. I thought he was very frustrated most of the night. I think we kept him frustrated even early on. It was a situation where I felt that his attention was more so on the officiating tonight than maybe he would have liked it to have been, given the type of situation this game ultimately came out to be. As hot as he was shooting in the first half, it cooled off, stuff like that. So the way they defended ultimately down the stretch against AD, having him sealed off on AD, certain stuff you just sit there and you just wonder how Luka feels about some of that stuff that happened down there. I don't know if I'd be too happy if I were him. How they schemed, how they approached it, how they blew the lead, all of that. When the team is shooting as poorly as we were, and you found a way to still lose, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he ain't too happy on his side of the fence. But we're ecstatic, The most important thing is Bron's health, though. I don't know how he's doing. And also Vanderbilt rolled his ankle as well, so we have to keep an eye on that, even though he played through it. It wasn't something to poo-poo. I thought Austin Reeves popped off the screen tonight, man. Even though he didn't have the biggest stats, you saw some good plays from him. He hit a big 3, drawing fouls, just making good plays, a good rhythm pass to one of the few 3-point shots that Malik Beasley hit. Austin Reeves was able to find him on one of those. So, when you consider that the stats isn't everything, and you consider that we got very little from our bench, I thought Austin Reeves played big for us. I think this game was a lot more difficult than it had to be. Part of that had to do with the rotations again. Some of the stuff I saw or Darvin do down there, I'm like, okay, we're playing with size, but this guy still doesn't believe in using a real center. What he doesn't seem to understand is that when you play some of these bigs out of position, they don't think like centers. They're big and they're long, but they're not centers. So when they match up against real centers, they get maneuvered around. So it's frustrating to me to watch us have Bamba, and obviously, we're able to use Vanderbilt as a center. We're able to use AD as a center. And I'm seeing all 3 of those people sitting. And then I'm seeing Rui Hachimura and Troy Brown and Bron. And I'm like, what is this crap, man? What is this garbage? Stop giving us difficult lineups to have to overcome your nonsense, Darvin. And that's really where my head's at. It gets frustrating when you have to win. And you look down there and this guy's doing wacky stuff. At one point, it looked like he had put like a handful of players on the floor out of position. It didn't last very long because I think the other team called a timeout for him to get that jambalaya off the floor. But I'm sitting down there and I'm just looking at this rotation in the third quarter. I'm like, I think it was right after we had set Vando down. And I'm like, what is this garbage, yo? And you could just see the Dallas Mavericks were getting their plays off. Kyrie was dancing on it. I'm like, dude, I need my coach to not get in the way, man. And this is real frustration talking to y'all, but we were down by 27 in this game. And I'm not one of those fans that just looked at the comeback and thought that was amazing. No, I didn't. I thought the 27-point deficit was ridiculous, and I thought there were things we could keep from doing to keep it from happening. And it started and ended with Darvin and his choices. And so I'm going to choose to take the pessimistic side rather than to be honky-dory because we came back by 27 in a game we must win. I'm sorry. We should have never been down by 27. And if Vanderbilt plays that great every night, we can beat teams by 27. There's no need to even be in this situation. So this is my point of view. Coach, you got to use, and it's the Kobe minute, so let me salute. Don't want to forget. But, Coach, you got to use Malik Beasley with a bit more common sense, fam. That's the bottom line. You got to use that kid with a bit more common sense. I know he's a nice weapon, and I know we weren't getting a lot of intangibles from other people, but there's absolutely no excuse for leaving him out there to shoot our team out of the damn game when we can't afford to lose basketball games. I'm sorry. I don't need that. That shooter is not going to lose confidence in himself if on a night where he's cold, his coach sits him down. It's what he should expect at this point. It's just what it is. So he don't need you, Darvin, to believe in him more than any other coach and have him running through walls for you no more than anybody else with 34 damn minutes in a game where he's shooting the game completely out of our hands. No, I don't need him to believe in us that much, or himself or anybody else that much, that lose a game on his damn shooting. I'm sorry, I don't. So let's just reel it in, homie. You know what I'm saying? Play some other shooting guards. We got 7 of them. Don't let this happen again. Because that's exactly why we were down by 27. Because of that, and him trying to run plays that were easy for the Dallas Mavericks to just simply intercept. Bounce passes over and over again to Anthony Davis's shins and to his knees. Stop the bull crap. When you watch them intercept the play 3 times in the first half, you understand that it's just something that shouldn't be run anymore. Just like the cross-court pass that we were running in the last game. We got away with the win, but we were still running crap that we had no business running, and we're turning the ball over in circumstances where you just know they're trying to run plays that they would otherwise just be working on in practice in games where we cannot afford to lose. So my thing is, stop the experimenting given the circumstances. Schedule more practices if you want to run wacky garbage that's going to likely get intercepted most nights. Because that's exactly what I've been seeing for 2 games in a row. And it's why we've had the circumstances we found ourselves in, having to climb out of the 27-point hole. Okay, so again, I know we're trying to learn ourselves, trying to figure ourselves out. But we got to go to stuff that works. We got to be a bit more conventional. Because if we're continuing to fight our way back into games like this, we're not going to have any energy for the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, there is a good chance that a game like this goes to 1 overtime, 2 overtime, 3 overtime, 4. And you got to fight your way back on a 27-point deficit. And LeBron James talking about he hearing pops and he still got to play in games like that. He should not even have to play in a game like that no more. As soon as he says he hears a pop, it shouldn't even be nothing else. Why? Because you have the depth from which he shouldn't have to play anymore. And most importantly, you don't lose all them damn games we lost all up until this point. So you're not even in this situation. You know what I mean? You take care of the ones you're supposed to win. And so this is why we're in the situation we're in. Well, we are literally just fighting for our lives every possession of every game. It's because we did dumb stuff all the way up into this season, leading up to this moment. And now we're asking these new guys to get us out of the hole, just like Vanderbilt did, was symbolic for the entire season. Vanderbilt's game was symbolic for the entire season. What we want these kids to do is single-handedly pull us out of this damn hole. Vanderbilt, put the team on your back, sir, and you on your young legs, and just do all those things every single night. And if you do that, we'll win the championship. Because I'll tell you right now, if he does this in the playoffs, it ain't going to be too many teams that beat the Lakers. It's going to be very difficult. Just like Dallas had a hard time getting possessions off, everybody's going to have a hard time getting possessions off over those two. And the way that they played defense down the stretch of the game tonight, in the last 2 minutes of the game, it was a clinic by those two. Kai and Luka were not able to have success. So this is what I'm telling you. If I learned anything tonight, it's that our front court is not to be toyed with. And we can do even more if we add Bamba and Winyon to that mix, which I think most coaches would do. But not Darvin. No, not Darvin. Not Darvin. No. So, I'm trying to find patience. Luckily enough for all of us, we won this game, so y'all don't have to hear me be any more pessimistic than I already was. Again, we did get the victory, but it was because we did a lot of stuff to assure that the game was as hard as it had to be, including how we guarded the perimeter tonight. Just about the whole game. The whole night it was bad. The whole night. You know, it was a one particular three-point shot. Austin Reeves didn't even contest the damn three. I'm looking at him. That's your man. Tim Hardaway's he's drifting out there, and you're just looking at him. I know you better than that. Like, these are things I just flash in my head, and it's like, nah, y'all want me to celebrate this 27-point deficit that turned into a 3-point win because we got heroics from our defense. No, not this fan. That was hot. Don't leave nobody out there shooting no 3 for 14, 2 of 11 from behind the arc, and he's still out there with 3 minutes to go. Type of stuff. Ain't no excuse for that. Anyway, so that's what it is. Happy the Lakers won. I know most fans are, yeah. Not me. No, I'm happy we won. I'm very pleased we won, but this game was too much like most Dallas games in the afternoon at 12:30. Didn't I say that earlier on? We usually get blown out by 27. It's exactly what that game was for a good 2 quarters. Until Jared Vanderbilt, just like I said, a guy who doesn't have this identity as a Laker, who doesn't know anything about this. He was with Utah earlier in the year. He don't know nothing about all this crap that we got going on. Came in and made this Laker team his own. Pretty much. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's a new day. All the tendencies of old Lakers, all the tendencies of all of that, that's over with. As soon as we made this trade, we brought in an infusion of a new DNA, a new identity, and these kids are going to define it. They're going to define it for us. Bron and AD, of course, are going to be the core, and it's about them. But it's really about them because they're going to be the ones who are going to tell us who we are going forward. Are we going to be a good defensive team around AD and Bron? Are we going to be a good shooting team around AD and Bron? They will let us know. And so far, they're letting us know that they don't have any die in them. Ain't no never say die. I don't know nothing about a 27-point deficit. We could have been down by 37. I think it would have been a similar effect because that's how ferocious we had with Vanderbilt going down. That's how ferocious he was. His defense was that ridiculous. And as I think, what Dallas was missing tonight was the same thing I told you guys in the Laker video I made prior to the game. They did not have that guy that they traded to the Brooklyn Nets, man. That's what I'm trying to say. They did not have that small forward down there who does similar things that Vanderbilt does. You know what I mean? And when you remove that player from your side of the fence, you can bring in a Kyrie Irving. You know, you can bring in a different type of piece, but you're going to miss what Dorian Finney-Smith brings to the table. And that's essentially what it was. It's the same thing I said about us losing Pat Beverly. If we weren't bringing back a Vanderbilt, we were definitely not going to be okay without that energy. You let go of Russell Westbrook, you were definitely not going to be cool if you didn't bring back that Vanderbilt energy. We made up for it, and that's why we're cool. But I don't think Dallas made up for that. When you let Dorian Finney-Smith leave, and you look down there, you see how they were guarding AD down the stretch. That's going to be more of what you see from that team. This is what happens when you trade Dorian Finney-Smith. You don't have nobody to guard AD. You ain't got nobody to guard LeBron James in the paint. So that's where they're hurting. And as I told you guys, it's what we saw. So I thought that was very important because I don't think Dallas is going to be okay without that piece. It's one of the reasons why Justin Holiday is so important because they don't have it. You brought in Markieff Morris. I like Markieff Morris. Won a championship with Markieff. Salute. But he ain't going to help you like that. Like you lost something that you didn't patch up. And so I don't think Dallas is that great of a team, man. They're going to start slipping. This is the beginning of something, in my opinion. They're going to be able to win games, but that synergy, Kyrie, Luka, Put it like this. This is one of them games where I'm like, I don't know if this is the fit long term. I don't know if that's the fit long term for Kyrie. I don't think so. I think they got the right idea. You know, they're feeling around for something. They're trying to figure it out. But I can tell you right now, they're going to need a lot more than what they have to win the championship. They can't beat us. They can't beat us in the 7-game series. I'm telling you that right now. I want to see Dallas. As a Laker fan, I'm calling Dallas out with respect to their superstars. I want y'all, because y'all can't defend us. It just is what it is, man. And so I don't like what I see from them as of right now. And I don't know if they have anybody in the buyout market that they can pick up that can help them in the ways that they're going to need help. Because if they run into these big stilts and players like us, like and Anthony Davis, Vanderbilt, you know how many different teams have those positions solidified with good or great players. When Dallas runs into those teams, they're going to run into some trouble. I look at a team like Portland. Dallas don't want to see Portland because they got enough of those guys. It's going to make it hard on them. Memphis, just about every team I can think of. Anybody that can attack you with a power forward and a small forward, or a power forward and a center with size and length that can play some defense, Dallas going to have trouble. Anybody that can attack them in the paint, Dallas going to have trouble. They don't want to see Jokic. Jokic's going to kill them in the paint. He's going to kill them in the paint. That kind of thing. So, yeah, Dallas was exposed to me. If that three ain't falling for them, they ain't going to be able to defend. It just is what it is. So, that's what I thought I would see. I didn't think it would go the way that it did, but, you know, I just looked at them and what they have on the floor, and I just understood that as long as we just use a little common sense in scoring in the paint as we did, Bron understood early on, just kill them in the paint, and they're going to weaken out. And so that's what we saw. You know, it was not deeper than that. The score was an illusion, because Vanderbilt made it impossible for them. So if I'm giving anybody the game ball, it's definitely him. Ain't no question about that. But Anthony Davis needs a great deal of credit for just how phenomenal he played as well, defensively and then on the offensive end, just carrying us all game long with his efficiency. One of the better Anthony Davis games, even though the stats won't tell you that he was at that level that we love when we talk about Anthony Davis. It was the level we needed tonight. I tell you that. It was definitely the level we needed tonight. So, great bounce back game for him. Hopefully good health for Bron and Vanderbilt with the ankles or whatever those foot situations are. So, that's what it is, man. I know Dennis Schroeder had a great plus minus. I think he did a really good job on Kyrie Irving. I want to make that very clear because I haven't said that yet. I think Dennis Schroeder had some really good sequences defending Killer Kai, and that just needs not be forgotten by any of us. So, yeah, I think I covered everything I wanted to say, man. You know, LeBron James, bully ball, tough, strong man stuff, playing through pain. You know, that's what it was. He was old tonight. He was 38 years old tonight, but he played like a grown man. I'm not settling too much, although he shot some three-point shots he settled for that we would like him not to have shot. I think that was more so because of the foot and pain, but he was toughing it out. That foot was giving him hell. He wasn't even able to run back on defense the way he wanted to, but he still found a way to push through it, and that's what I'm talking about. So this is the type of game that I want to give the King his crown, because these are the games where the stats ain't going to tell you he played well. These are the games you're going to look at the three-point shot and roll your eyes. These are the games where you're going to say, man, his efficiency wasn't there. But these are also the games where you're going to remember he played through pain. He played through pain. He played when the foot was hurt. He was scared by the injury. He heard a pop. He thought his season was over, but he kept with it. And that's the type of determination and fight that he's going to have to show us. It ain't about being a mean guy like everybody wants him to be, a killer. That ain't it. You just got to do the more difficult thing for you. You know what I'm saying? And for him, it's just overcoming that fear, that injury, and getting back up and getting back to it. You know what I mean? And I thought that that's the way that you gain the type of respect that you really want from Laker fans, is playing through pain, letting us know that you have it in you to fight through it. And so that's what I want to see from Bron, man. You know, because he's the quote-unquote poster child for the modern era, the friendly era. We've talked a lot about how things have been catered to him a certain way or what have you. This is how you get that respect from those who are looking for you to get it out the mud. Is when you play in games like this, you down by 27, you feel an injury, you keep fighting, and you get the victory. These are the games that really define LeBron James's actual legacy. ESPN ain't gonna tell you that. All, the bloggers that may not be in their mind. But I'm telling you, when you want to get the respect that the Kobes and the Bill Russells and the Kareems get, when you want those guys to look at you and say, it's this game. This is the game. That they look at LeBron and say, yep. So that's what I'm saying. Video 44. Thank you all for watching.